Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for clicking on this video. I am Mika Zaniel and I am back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about my journey with passing the NBCOT exam and give you guys some tips on saving money for study materials and how to pass the exam on your first try. So if this is something that you're interested in, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So for those of you who are already in the OTA program or have interest in pursuing the OTA program, the NBCOT exam is an exam that you have to sit for and pass the exam in order to get your license. So the exam is a 200 question exam. You have 4 hours to take the exam. It's $550 to apply to take the exam. So once you pass your exam, you can log onto your state board website, and you can go on there and apply for your exam. Apply for your license. Now, every state payment is different. The state that I live in, they charge me $200 to apply for my license exam. To apply for my license. So to run this back, the NBCOT exam, you have to take that in order to get your license. It is a national exam, and it is 200 questions, 4 hours to take the exam, and it's $550. Now, before the pandemic, once you paid the $550 to take the exam, you had 3 months from that day that you paid the money to take the exam. When I was taking the exam, it was at the height of the pandemic, so they gave us an extended 3 months. So altogether, we had 6 months in total. I did not pass my NBCOT exam on my first try, unfortunately. At the time, my mind was so focused on passing and getting a job and getting in the field. While I was in school, I used to always, every now and then, look on Indeed to see what jobs were hiring in the field of OTA. It seems like the months between April and August, there was an increase in demand for jobs for OTA. So I was like, okay, if I'm finishing the program in May, I need to take this test, pass, and start applying for a job and get in before it slows down. Now that I'm coming up on 1 year of working as a COTA, I can tell you that the months between March and August are the busiest for the field of rehab. They do a lot of hiring around those months between March and August. I don't know why, but it just seemed like it's a busy time between the months of March and August, and then it starts to slow down between October and January, and then you start to see an increase at the end of February. Okay, so back on track. Like I said, I did not pass my NBCOT exam on my first try. You need a passing score of 450. I failed with a 438. Things that led to me failing: one, I was in a rush to take the test and pass the test and get a job, versus sitting down and understanding the exam, how the exam is going to be, how to answer the question, understanding the question, and understanding, how to dissect the questions. So they give you 4 hours to take the test, and it's 200 questions. I was not worried about the 4-hour time frame, because when I was in the OTA program, my instructors always gave us exams with 150 to 200 questions, and I would be able to finish the test within like an hour, hour and a half. So 200 questions within 4 hours in my mind was like no brainer. That's enough time to take the test. I did not have a plan. I thought I had a plan, but I did not have a plan. So I finished my level 2 fieldwork the last week in April. I took the first week off in May to just to relax. At the time, I was not working because I was laid off at my job with the pandemic. So the second week of May, I was like, I'm ready. I bought me a calendar and I was ready to go. So being that I was not working, my study routine was to study Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So not realistic looking back. I didn't know what to study, where to begin, because there's so much information that you need to know, and it's only 200 questions and you don't know what they're going to ask you. Now, when you're on the NBCOT website, they do give you like a blueprint. I didn't know where exactly to start. So I just went in. So I had my calendar. My goal was to study Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and take rest breaks in between as needed, and have the weekends to do my own thing. I used AOTA Study Prep. They do have the domains broken down into how the test breaks it down into. Give you study guides and practice tests. For me personally, I did not like the AOTA Study Prep, but at the time, that's what I went with. My school paid for it, and when I was looking on Reddit and online reviews, a lot of people said they used it, so that's what I went with. I didn't feel confident at all. I did not pass any of the study prep practice exams. What I would do is I would print the study guides out from the AOTA website, review the study guides, study them, and then I would quiz myself, because they do give you like little quizzes that you can take. Excuse me. So I would quiz myself, and then by the end of the week, I would take a test to see how I do. And like I said, I did not pass any of the AOTA study prep tests. And they do give you an explanation why the answer was wrong and what answer was correct. Even the explanation to me did not make any sense. It did not explain how to break down the questions or how they came to their answer. It was not, I didn't like it at all. But I have a classmate that used it and she passed with it. So if that's something that you want to look into, you can look into it. It didn't work for me, but other people have used it and it has been successful for them. And that is the AOTA Study Prep thing led to me not passing the NBCOT exam on my first attempt. I would read a lot of reviews and comments online. I would go on Reddit and look at other people, their response and how they did with passing the test and how did they feel and how did they know they was ready to take the test. And I think that played into my thinking and rushing to take the test. I read online where some people weren't feeling confident, they weren't passing the test, they were getting scores of this and that on the test, on the practice test, and it took the exam and they passed. So I was like, well, maybe that's me, because when I was in the OTA program, I mainly made A's and B's on all of my tests. So I was like, well, I know the material, so I'm like, maybe the exam is not as bad. And also when I was on Reddit, some people said the questions weren't as bad as the study prep questions were. People always say that the study prep questions are always harder than the actual exam, right? So I was going with that mindset, but deep down I really did not feel well about going into this exam. And when I was in the program and I would go to take my exams, I would always, like, if I knew I wasn't going to do so well on an exam, like, I would know. And if I knew I had a good chance at passing or getting a high score on the exam, I would know. And going into this NBCOT exam for my first attempt, I just did not have a good feeling about it. But again, I was so focused on getting the job and passing on my first attempt. So I would say avoid the online reviews and comments. Just go with your gut and just focus on you. Again, I would not, for me, the AOTA study prep did not work for me, but it could work for others. Now, I did not use the green book. I forgot the name of it, but I know when I was in school, a lot of people talked about this green book. I heard the questions on that book were extremely hard. And I was saying to myself, well, I don't want to take a practice test where the questions are extremely hard and I'm getting 20 and 30% on a practice exam. If my confidence levels are already low, I don't need to take a practice test with a book that have extremely hard questions and are not written the way the actual exam is written. That would just make my confidence level even lower. So I didn't bother to purchase that book. And when I read the reviews online, a lot of people said it wouldn't recommend that book. I just continued to press my way forward with the AOTA study prep, even though I was not feeling confident, even though I was not passing. Fast forward to July, I was like, it's July the 1st. I've been studying since the middle of May. I don't want to study too much and then I not pass. Maybe I'm overstudying. So like, let me go ahead and set a date. Set the date for, it was on a Thursday. I want to say it was the 23rd. And I would find out my score the following week. So let me back up. NBCOT conversation in the beginning. Also, when you take your test, so the NBCOT exam, they have certain dates when they will put out the score. So if you're one of those people like me who don't want to wait an entire week to get your score, try to take your exam 3 days prior to the score release date, so you won't have to wait an entire week to receive your score. So back on track to the reason I failed. So I used the AOTA study prep. I was not passing the exams. I was not understanding the material. The study guides did not work for me. I was reading too many negative comments on Reddit, and not only negative comments, I was reading some positive comments, but again, I should just focus on myself and start reading into the comments. Third, I was in a rush to pass and start working. Those are the 3 reasons that I failed so far. So I did reach out to a OT student who was had just posted on social media that she had passed her exam. So I reached out to her to find out what was her what did she use to pass the test. Now, she had told me this was her 3rd time taking the test and that she had passed on her 3rd attempt. She told me the tools that she used the first 2 times that didn't work, which were the similar tools that I was using. It did not work for me. And I think she also told me that she used the Green Book and it did not work for her. But what she did tell me was about a program that she applied to, which is called the TMPOT. She said it was a success for her and she wished she had used it on her first try. And she was explaining to me about that program and how it worked for her. So in my mind, I was like, cause you can go online on that website and take like a 1 or 2 day session class, a 1 day study session, or a 2 day study session. So I was thinking about doing that, but I didn't want to pay the extra money because again, the study material does cost money and it adds up, but I didn't have the money to take that risk. So I did not use that, but I will give more information about that program in the next video because I did use it on my 2nd time. So the day before my exam, I just reviewed questions and topics that I had a hard time, sticking in my brain. And I only studied for maybe 4 hours. Supposedly, I was supposed to study for 4 hours and then stop. So I woke up that Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And I was supposed to study until 12 o'clock. But my nerves were so bad. And I just felt like I didn't study enough. So I continued to study. And I didn't stop studying until 6 o'clock. And I went to sleep. But I did not sleep well that night. So I got up, shower, got ready. I prayed, read my Bible. A lot of people at this testing center, they do have you spaced out. But I took it in July. And around that time, a lot of people were taking exams. I could not focus. I remember the girl 2 seats down from me, whatever exam she was taking consisted of writing, and all I could hear was her typing on that keyboard, and it was really, really bothering me. So then I got down to, I had 50 questions left and less than 30 minutes to answer those questions, and I was like, oh my gosh, my heart was beating so fast. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, do I just take my time and answer these last few questions, and what questions I don't answer, just take the loss, or do my best to make an educated guess on these questions? So that's what I did. I made an educated guess on the questions because I didn't have a lot of time. I had 50 questions left with less than 30 minutes to answer the questions. I walked out and I knew I failed. I would not recommend, for me, you can give it a try if you want to, but I would not recommend this AOTS study prep. I would recommend a study schedule. Don't be in a rush to take the exam. Take the exam when you're ready. The jobs will still be there. Take your time. Don't read the comments on Google or any other website. Go with your gut. Listen to your mind. believe in yourself and do what works best for you. So if you can stick around for the next video, I will give you tips on how I passed on my second try. So that's all I have for this video for part 1 on passing the NBCOT exam. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks so much for clicking on this video.